American Made. American Made is the new biopic starring Tom Cruise. It's directed by Doug Liman. He's done some good movies before, Swingers, Go.
Yeah.
He worked with Tom Cruise on Edge of Tomorrow.
Love that movie.
And so, Nate, let's just start off with Tom Cruise. We've been kind of sour on Tom Cruise after Jack Reacher 2 and The Mummy, so...
Yeah.
What'd you think about this time around? It was more serious drama, not an action movie.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that I would say Tom Cruise definitely leads this movie. He is this movie. He is on screen the entire time. There's no scene hardly without him in it.
Yeah.
And it actually was very refreshing to see Tom Cruise going back into a dramatic role, going back to just being a person that's, doing things that aren't extravagant or action-packed.
Running away from something.
Running. I don't think he runs once in this movie.
Well, he rides a bike.
He rides a bike once, yeah. But actually, Tom Cruise's performance, I think, was my favorite part of this movie. He really invests himself in it, and I thought it was a great performance on his part. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Tom Cruise definitely carried this movie on his
Yeah.
back. And I think this movie proves that why he's still one of the more bankable stars, one of the more reliable actors in Hollywood today. Mm-hmm. And I think with this movie... Given his last two movies and how heavy of a role he played in those two, this movie he just acted.
Yep.
He trusted the director and the script, and he just acted. He just played the character, and I think that's when he really plays to his strengths. When he produces all the Mission Impossible movies, and those are all pretty good.
Yeah.
But with this, when he's just focused on his acting, I think that's when his best comes out.
I agree. I think that, his lack of involvement in the production alone. I heard with The Mummy, he had way too much involvement in
Basically co-directed it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just bogs him down a little bit, where this he was able to shine. And I think that really watching him on screen, he was really charismatic, and I liked this character in general. I think he was kind of a fun, borderline dopey character.
Yeah.
Did you see him to be
yeah,
dopey?
Yeah, he was. There was some kind of like cartoonish moments to him.
Yeah.
But he did bring that charm, and it was one of those things we were talking about the southern accent. Like, had he done one in a movie before? I thought he did pretty well this time around with it. And it wasn't distracting or anything, but it was there.
Yeah.
And I got to say that it's good to see Tom Cruise. It looks like he's having fun.
Yeah.
He seemed a little too serious in his last couple movies.
Yeah.
And I think that he trusts this director, Doug Liman, after Edge of Tomorrow, and that, once again, another movie where all he had to do was act.
Even though Tom Cruise was so good in it, was it an interesting story?
I think it was. It's one of these, stories where they peel back a page of history that you never really knew about. Mm-hmm. And some people kind of saw this as another kind of a retelling of Blow.
A little bit.
It is the same era. It is dealing with the same drug cartel. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just interesting to show how, when this drug cartel was happening, how exactly they got the drugs into America, and then just all the craziness that went with all the smuggling and getting around radar and all these things that had to go into this drug trade. I thought it was very interesting to see just how they pulled it off.
I think so too. I really like the way they told the story through funny little animations, through maps, through courses, things like that. I'm glad that piloting and basically him being a pilot in general took a front seat to this movie it really was like what happens in the air. That was like a really main portion of it. And that interests me a lot. I thought that was really cool how him being such a strong pilot and how bored he was just being an airline pilot really transferred into why he gets into this job in the first place. One thing that I would say it lacks on is, although it's paced well, because it's a really fast movie, the editing's quick, it's lots of shaky cam, you really feel like you're kind of there in the moment. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really ever invested emotionally into these characters. There really wasn't much of an arc, and I felt like there wasn't a lot. There was times where it seemed like a lot was at stake, but he gets away with so much. I started to realize that he was a little invincible. That's sort of how I felt. Yeah, it's a good way of saying it. So.
Yeah. For me, I think that this movie, the pacing is fine, but there are moments where I feel like instead of a movie being too slowly paced, where they got so little story and they're trying to stretch it out.
Yeah.
I feel like this one had so much story, and at times they're like kind of cramming it in. Like you jump from year to year. Mm-hmm. So it did get a little choppy for me at parts. But at the same time, I can't say I ever found myself bored, because something was happening. There was a new opportunity for him. There was some danger. There was some potential trouble with the law enforcement, even though he pretty much got out of it every time.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you on the characters. It's just that, I don't know, they didn't give me any real reason to feel bad for him if anything went bad.
Yeah.
Because it was all his choice, and like you said, he had a perfectly good, fine-paying job, and then he went into this adventure. So yes, there was a little bit less of an emotional investment.
They played it into a clever theme. There's a lot of times in this where other characters are like, this guy's a damn genius, but really he's not that smart. Things just sort of happen okay for him. Like, everything's just going really well, and everyone thinks he's a genius.
Yeah, they credit his accomplishments to an abundance of brains. I think it might be an abundance of balls and lack of brains, really.
Yeah.
With some of the things that he does. But let's talk more about the director, Doug Liman. He has a very distinct visual style, like dating back to his early work with Swingers and Go.
Yeah.
He lends those movies as well.
Yeah.
So how do you think about him taking his visual style to a biopic?
I thought that he did a really, like I said with the pacing, editing, it's really fast, it's really brisk. It was shaky often there was even certain shots where Tom Cruise's face is like cut off here. And you would just see like backgrounds and things like that. He used some very odd choices to put you in the moment. He does do the thing in some action movies also where you see a shot and then it like zooms in really quick. I got a little tired of that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
But I do like sort of the fast-paced urgency of the camera in this movie, and I thought he did a pretty good job with this.
Yeah, I think that this movie is a really colorful movie. I would say that's the biggest contrast I can put it to is, once again, stop comparing it to Blow, but if that's what people are expecting, another version of Blow. It's not like that.
No.
It's more colorful, and it's more stylized, a lot more soft lighting and everything.
Yeah.
But I think that Doug Liman's movies are always pretty well-paced, and yes, the editing can be a little choppy, and sometimes the pacing of the story is a little jarring where it's taking you from year to year to year.
Yeah.
But I think that he did a fine job directing this, and while he didn't make us really invest in this character, Barry Seal, he directed Tom Cruise to a good performance where you can go on this journey.
Buffs. All right, those are our thoughts on American Made. Dennis, put a score to it. What'd you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was an interesting story, and it's kind of one of those stories that you never knew you wanted to be told until you were actually told, and it's kind of just learning about the rich history of all the happenings of our country.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed Tom Cruise. He carries this movie. Supporting actors, technical aspects, they're all fine. Nothing really stands out. But I'm going to give American Made a 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, 7.5. Yeah, it's a good score. I mean, I agree. And like you said, with going back with Tom Cruise, like, I was not really looking forward to this movie, but he won me over again. You know, Tom Cruise is just, he has been not impressing me very much. But once again, I'm like, all right, the next movie that comes out with him, I'll probably go see and probably be excited about it. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time with this. There is a lack of emotion and a lack of character development, in my opinion. But all in all, I'm right there with you with a 7.5. I recommend going to see this movie because you will be entertained.
Yeah, and once again, it's a good, like, kind of historical lesson. If you're interested in the story behind this, you're going to enjoy this movie. If you're worried Tom Cruise is going to ruin it, no, he elevates it.
Buffs.
So that's it for our review of American Made. What'd you guys think? Did Tom Cruise redeem himself once again? Why don't you leave all your comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate all the support at Cinema Buffs.
That's right. Next week, we are going to be bringing you our review of Blade Runner 2049. So I know you're looking forward to this.
Kind of pumped for that.
Harrison Ford's back. Ryan Gosling's leading. You know, it's got potential.
Yeah. Denis Villeneuve directing.
Yeah.
Arrival was great.
Yeah, it really was. So I think we're looking forward to it.
Yes.
So check us out for that review next week. But until then,
there's no place like the theater.